everyone. Dr. Brian Scott with you. I trust you're following this podcast study that we're doing on Ezekiel 38, the World War III referred to in Revelation chapter 6 as the red horse, the war horse that brings war to the world. This battle occurs just at the beginning of the 7 years of tribulation. It's an invasion of Israel by Russia and a whole bunch of other countries. We have been examining the first 6 or so verses of Ezekiel chapter 38, and we have seen where it refers to Gog. That's the leader of Magog, Magog being the term that today we would say Russia, or the former lands of the Soviet Union. And this leader is the prince over Rosh, Meshach, and Tubal. Those are references to lands in the former Soviet Union. It's quite a large area and quite a large population, obviously. Then we have Persia, which is Iran and Iraq. We have Ethiopia, and we have Libya, which are African nations. We looked the other day at Gomer, which are lands that are Eastern Europe, areas that would be today East Germany, as well as Germany, Poland, Hungary, possibly Czechoslovakia, lands that have been oppressed by the communist attacks and rules of the past. And that leads us to Togarmah, which is in verse number 6, the house at Togarmah. That is the great-grandson of Noah. Remember, Noah had 3 sons. Japheth had 7 sons. Gomer was the oldest. Gomer had 1 son, or 3 sons, one of whom was Togarmah. So we have all these, most of these countries that are listed here were settled by family members of Noah following the flood. They moved north of Israel to settle what is now Russia and part of Eastern Europe and part of Turkey. Now let's look at Togarmah for a minute. It comprises 3 countries, Turkey, Bulgaria, and Romania. Now the latter 2, Bulgaria and Romania, have been under some degree of Soviet control since almost the end of World War II. Turkey is a growing power. They've just had an election, and their leader, Erdogan, has been reelected. And he already has had it very clearly stated that he intends to have the largest army on the face of the earth. He calls himself the Caliph, and his army, the Caliphate, will be the largest army on the face of the earth. His unstated or seldom stated objective is to invade and take Israel. Now, currently, he's fighting with Germany over what is called the Seat of Satan. That is a outdoor stage platform that was built in the Second World War, and he believes it belongs to him, and he wants it back from Germany. So there's all kinds of things going on in this entire region where we've got battles, we've got wars, we've got insurrections, we've got a lot of instability, but we have mostly what we call some form of liaison, some kind of working agreement with the nation of Russia, Iran, Iraq, Ethiopia, Libya, all very tightly tied to Russia. And therefore, it's hard to say what they're going to do, isn't it? We get to the last part of verse 6. It says, and many people with you. That's an interesting reference because it doesn't state a nation itself, but it seems to refer to the fact that there are going to be other nations that are influenced by this coalition, and they are also going to count in the coalition against Israel. I dug out some verses in Daniel 11 for you. Verse 40 says, at the time of the end, the king of the south shall attack him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots and horsemen and many ships, and he shall enter the countries, overwhelm them, and pass through. This, I believe, refers to the invasion of Israel. It says In verse 42, he'll stretch out his hand against the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. He shall have power over the treasures of gold and silver and over all the precious things of Egypt. Also the Libyans and Ethiopians will follow at his heels. So that infers this coalition once more. And it says, news from the east and from the north shall trouble him. He shall go out with great fury to destroy and annihilate many. So the inference here is that we've got a massive coalition coming against Israel in Ezekiel chapter 38, which is the beginning of what is known as World War III. Are we close to that occurring? Well, one of my mentors, fathers in the faith, has indicated time and time again that all the countries that need to come into agreement against Israel are now in agreement. That has never been quite the case before, but it is the case now. So we have everything being set up for this coalition to come against Israel. And we see all kinds of news in the papers and in the news feeds of Iran being in the position to have nuclear capabilities, nuclear weapons. In fact, it was just recently stated that they have a weapon that can fly 2,000 miles with nuclear warheads and not be interceptable. We have all kinds of attacks coming against Israel from the Gaza Strip and from the southern border. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of rockets being fired, most of which are shot down by their iron defense system. But the point is, we have Syria on the north. It's been at war for the longest time. We have Iran, Iraq on the east. We have Gaza on the south. We have the terrorist groups, Hamas and Hezbollah, who are always coming against Israel. Things are not getting lesser there. They're getting more intense all the time. And Iran's posturing of late has been very, very aggressive. We know Russia has been at war with Ukraine, and that's ongoing now into its second year, and it's just getting worse and worse. We know they're threatening other nations along the what would be their western boundary not to join NATO. We just have a lot of insurrection. We have a lot of flashpoints. We have a lot of instability, which could very, very easily lead to the World War III that we're referring to. I've got some more to share with you from these verses in Ezekiel 38 and 39. I hope you'll be with us tomorrow. God, you're blessed. Amen.